These terrorists thought they found an easy target, but they have no idea her father is the world's deadliest military assassin. And he's already on his way. The story begins with an old man and his young niece. It's almost Christmas, and he wants to get her the perfect gift. He knows she's obsessed with bicycles, so he takes her to a local shop. The girl has her heart set on one thing, a blue bike. The shopkeeper only has a red one in stock, but the girl isn't interested. She hates red. The uncle asks if there's any way to get a blue one, and the shopkeeper says he'll make it happen. He picks up the phone and makes a mysterious call. Suddenly, we see a group of men in a van. They spot a blue bicycle chained up on the street, cut the lock, and vanish. This isn't just a shop, it's a calculated theft. Far away in Afghanistan, we meet Markus. He's a career soldier, hard and disciplined. He calls his wife to deliver some bad news. His deployment has been extended. He won't be home for Christmas. His wife is devastated, knowing their daughter, Mathilde, is going to take it hard. When Mathilde hears the news, she's heartbroken. To make matters worse, she realizes her own blue bicycle was stolen the night before. It's the same bike we saw those goons take at the start. Since she has no way to get to school, her mother decides to take the day off. She tells Mathilde they're going to have a great time and travel by train instead. On the other side of town, we meet Otto. He's a data researcher who believes everything in life follows a pattern. But his company doesn't see his value. After years of research, his latest presentation basically says rich people buy expensive cars and poor people don't. His bosses aren't impressed, and Otto is fired on the spot. Frustrated, he boards a train to head home. While sitting there, his researcher brain starts working. He notices a man who looks like a total gangster, covered in tattoos. Then, he spots another suspicious man. This guy has an expensive juice and a sandwich, but he throws them both in the trash without taking a single bite. Before the train even moves, the juice man gets off. That's when Mathilde and her mother board the train. Otto, being a gentleman, stands up and gives his seat to Mathilde's mother. Seconds later, disaster strikes. A massive explosion rips through the train. The metal twists, glass shatters, and everyone is thrown into chaos. Otto survives with minor injuries, but Mathilde's mother isn't so lucky. She is killed instantly. Back in the desert, Markus receives the call that shatters his world. His wife is gone. He drops everything and flies back to the city. At the hospital, he finds Mathilde in a state of total shock. She's lost her mother and her world is falling apart. A nurse pulls Markus aside and warns him not to look at his wife's body. She tells him the damage is too graphic, too brutal. But Markus is a soldier. He demands to see her. When the sheet is pulled back, even this hardened warrior breaks. He stares at his wife's broken body, and for the first time, the man of stone starts to crumble. Otto is back at his house, but he can't stop thinking about the crash. He turns on the TV and sees a breaking news report. It turns out one of the victims was a key witness set to testify in a high-profile case. Otto's instincts kick in. He's convinced this wasn't an accident, it was a hit. Meanwhile, at the church, the atmosphere is heavy. It's the day of the funeral, and both Markus and Mathilde are at their breaking point. Markus is a man who hides his emotions, but the cracks are starting to show. Otto heads straight to the police station. He identifies the victim as a man named Hegel, who is about to blow the whistle on a dangerous gang called the Riders of Justice. Otto tells the cops about the suspicious man with the juice and the sandwich, how he dumped his food and jumped off just moments before the blast. He explains it was too perfectly timed to be a coincidence. But the police aren't interested in theories. They think Otto is just a grieving, crazy man and they show him the door. Back at home, the tension between Markus and his daughter is growing. Mathilde can see her father is falling apart internally. She begs him to see a psychiatrist and get help, but Markus isn't the type of man to talk about his feelings. He refuses immediately. Just as he steps outside, he finds Otto standing at his door. Otto isn't alone. He's brought his colleague, Leonard, another researcher who lives for data. Markus leads them to his storeroom to talk in private. They lay out everything, the witness, the juice man, and the sheer brutality of the Riders of Justice gang. Markus is skeptical at first. He asks why they didn't go to the authorities, and they admit the police laughed them out of the station. But as they present the facts, Markus starts to believe. He realizes his wife didn't just die in a tragedy, she was murdered. He looks at them and asks one question, What's the plan? Otto reveals he has a sketch of the suspect. Now, they just need to find a match. The next day, Markus takes Mathilde to a doctor. The physician warns him that they are both in a state of severe shock and desperately need therapy. Again, the soldier shuts it down. He claims they are fine and heads home. Later that night, Mathilde stays out late to clear her head. When she finally returns, Markus is waiting. He's furious and starts scolding her, but she isn't alone. A boy is with her, and he tries to stand up for her. He tells Markus that Mathilde is drowning in depression and needs kindness, not a lecture. Markus doesn't take the advice well. He loses his temper and slaps the boy across the face, showing just how much he's losing control. Mathilde is furious after the slap. She locks herself in her room, refusing to look at her father. When Markus demands she open up, she yells through the door that the boy is her boyfriend and the only one truly looking after her. Meanwhile, Otto and Leonard head to see their old friend, Emmentaler. He's a high-level computer genius who can hack into almost anything. They hand him the sketch of the suspect, and the facial recognition software finds a 96% match. The man is an engineer, but there's a catch. His brother is the ruthless leader of the Riders of Justice. Back at home, Markus tries to make peace. He apologizes to Mathilde, but tells her she can't bring the boy over anymore. Just then, Otto and his team arrive with the new intel. They are convinced that if they find this engineer, they'll find the truth about the train bombing. They track the man down to his house. But things go south the moment they arrive. Markus tries to interrogate him, but the engineer is arrogant and starts running his mouth. Markus doesn't play games. He draws his weapon and shoots the man. As they head back to the car, Markus's blood is still boiling. He can't let it go. In a fit of cold rage, he turns around, goes back inside, and finishes the job. The researchers are absolutely terrified. They've never seen a professional killer in action. They realize they are in too deep and have to clean up the crime scene. While they are scrubbing for fingerprints, Leonard finds a young boy named Botched being held captive in the house. They don't have time to deal with him, so they grab what they need and bail. When Markus returns home, he finds Mathilde and her boyfriend waiting for him. He swallows his pride and apologizes to the boy. The boyfriend is surprisingly understanding. He explains that he knows they are both drowning in grief and suggests they see a psychiatrist, his own mother. Markus brushes the idea off, but later that night, he sees a news report that makes his blood run cold. Because the witness died in the train accident, all charges against the Riders of Justice have been dropped. The gang is walking free. Markus snaps. He calls Otto and the team and gives them a direct order: find every piece of evidence on this gang and bring it to him. He tells them his plan is simple. They provide the intel, and he provides the vengeance. Just as the meeting breaks up, Mathilde catches them. Otto panics and runs away, leaving the others to cover. Markus lies to his daughter, claiming Otto was on the train and feels guilty for taking her mother's seat. Leonard quickly plays along, telling Mathilde he's actually a counselor who has come to treat her father for depression. The hunt is on. We meet Kurt, the cold-blooded leader of the Riders of Justice. He's standing over Botched, the boy Markus and the team left behind at the engineer's house. Kurt is mourning his brother, the man Markus executed, and he wants names. Botched swears he doesn't know who the attackers were, but he remembers one specific detail. He heard the men shouting the name, Emmentaler. Kurt's eyes light up with a lethal focus. He orders his men to track down every person linked to that name. Back at the house, the team is trying to get organized. Emmentaler is a tech genius, but he's also a perfectionist with a short fuse. He's trying to set up a high-tech surveillance hub to track the gang, but he's missing key equipment. He starts scolding the others like a drill sergeant. Realizing they can't work without his gear, they decide to risk a midnight run to Emmentaler's old apartment. It's a move that almost costs them their lives. As they reach the apartment, the shadows come alive. The Riders of Justice were already waiting. Gunfire erupts, glass shatters, and the researchers dive for cover, paralyzed by fear. Calmly explaining that combat is what he was born for. He moves like a ghost, taking out the first gunman and stripping him of his weapon. In a matter of seconds, Markus dismantles the entire hit squad. The only survivor is Botched. Realizing the boy is a witness to everything, they smash his phone and realize he has nowhere to go. The gang was just using him for sick fun, so the team decides to take him back to the house. Safe for now, the group gathers around Immenthaler's screens. He lays out the file on every single member of the Riders of Justice. The reality finally hits home. The gang knows who they are now. It's a kill or be killed situation. The researchers realize they can't just sit behind keyboards anymore. They ask Markus to give them weapons and teach them how to shoot. If the war comes to their front door again, they want to be ready to pull the trigger. Markus agrees. He knows the riders are regrouping for a massive strike, so he turns the house into a makeshift boot camp. He starts with the basics, assembling and cleaning high-powered rifles. The others struggle, fumbling with the heavy metal parts, but Immenthaler is a natural. He snaps the weapon together with lightning speed, surprising even the hardened soldier. Markus asks if he's done this before, but the genius just shrugs. He just understands how machines work. The training continues, and the line between researchers and soldiers begins to blur. Immenthaler is buried in his screens, tracking Kurt's every move. He finally finds a lead. Kurt is heading to a private location with very little security. It's the perfect time to strike. The researchers insist on going along, but the pressure is getting to everyone. On the drive there, Otto starts having second thoughts. He starts rambling about morality and how they shouldn't be playing God. Markus, already on edge, loses his cool. He punches Otto, breaks his nose, and kicks him out of the car on the side of the road before speeding off with the others. They set up their sniper positions outside the house and wait for Kurt to emerge. But when the target finally walks out, the plan hits a wall. Kurt isn't alone, he's surrounded by innocent people. Markus is a soldier, but he's not a butcher. He refuses to take the shot and risk killing bystanders. They watch as Kurt drives away, but a few Riders of Justice members stay behind. Markus decides to vent his frustration on them. He moves in and starts dropping the thugs one by one. Even Immenthaler gets in on the action, pulling the trigger and taking a life for the first time. But as soon as the body hits the floor, the weight of it crushes him. He breaks down in tears, haunted by what he's just done. Markus tries to toughen him up, telling him the man deserved it, but the trauma is already set in. They pick up a bloodied Otto on the way back and return to the house. That night, Leonard sits down with Bodashka. The boy finally opens up about his tragic past. He was sold by his parents in a poor country and bought by Kurt's brother, who used him in the most horrific ways. But then, Bodashka mentions something that stops Leonard's heart. He says that on the day of the train accident, he and the brother were together, nowhere near that station. The realization hits Leonard like a freight train. The juice man was just a random guy. The engineer they killed was innocent. The whole revenge mission was based on a mathematical fluke. When they break the news to Markus, the hardened soldier completely snaps. All the suppressed grief from his wife's death and the guilt of his recent murders explode at once. He loses his mind, screaming and destroying the bathroom with his bare hands. He starts hurting himself, spiraling into a deep, dark depression. Otto finds him in the wreckage and tries to pull him back from the edge. He tells Markus he has to survive for Mathilde. Then, Otto reveals his own secret. He had a daughter once, but he neglected her, and she died. He's lived every day since blaming himself. He tells Markus that he can't let Mathilde lose her father too. He begs Markus to stop the violence and focus on being the father his daughter needs before it's too late. The Riders of Justice aren't hiding anymore. They've tracked down every name: Otto, Leonard, and Immenthaler. The final piece of the puzzle falls into place thanks to a massive mistake. Mathilde's boyfriend posts a photo of her and Otto on Instagram, and the gang's high-tech trackers find it instantly. Kurt, the psycho leader of the gang, corners the boy and starts breaking his fingers one by one. The boy screams out Markus's address, but it doesn't matter. Kurt breaks the rest of his fingers anyway just for the fun of it. Back at the house, the group is sitting down for dinner, finally trying to feel like a family. Suddenly, the windows shatter. A hail of bullets tears through the walls. Kurt has arrived with a small army, and they're spraying the house with lead. Everyone is hit. Markus is shot in the legs, and Immenthaler takes a bullet to the chest. Despite the agony, Markus's soldier instincts take over. He screams at Mathilde to run to her room and hide under the bed. Markus drags himself across the floor, reaching for his weapon. He starts picking off the gunman, but he's losing too much blood. Kurt storms into the house, finds Mathilde, and drags her outside. When Markus realizes his daughter is in the monster's hands, he forces himself to stand. He stumbles into the yard, where Kurt is holding a gun to Mathilde's head. The boyfriend is there too, trembling and broken. Kurt laughs, telling Markus to drop his gun or he'll execute them both. Just as Kurt is about to pull the trigger, the rest of the team, Otto, Leonard, and even a wounded Emmentaler, burst out of the shadows. They unleash a wall of gunfire, shredding Kurt's men in seconds. Kurt is the only one left standing, bleeding and defeated. He looks at Markus and asks, "What did I ever even do to you?" He just raises his gun and puts a bullet in Kurt's head, ending the nightmare forever. Markus collapses, his eyes fluttering. Mathilde rushes to him, sobbing, as he whispers an apology for everything he put her through. He tells her he never wants to leave her again. As his eyes start to close, Mathilde begs him to stay awake. The sirens of the ambulances echo in the distance. In the final scene, we fast forward to Christmas. Against all odds, Markus survived. The whole found family is gathered together, healed and happy. The house is full of warmth and laughter. On the street outside, we see the little girl from the very beginning of the story. She's riding a brand new blue bicycle, a huge smile on her face. The cycle of violence has finally stopped, and for the first time, there is peace. Markus learned the hard way that grief doesn't need a reason, but it always needs a target. The math was a lie, but the bodies were real. If you want more high-stakes breakdowns, hit subscribe and join the crew. This is Cinemaned. Don't miss the next one.